I have no idea why I don't use these more. If you embroider, you definitely need these. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Patrice, and as y'all saw, we have a hooping situation going on. Today we are going to be embroidering an applique design, and I am going to walk you through the process of embroidering an applique design using Mighty Hoops. These hoops are the best thing. They make hooping your items super easy, and I absolutely love them. Often I reach for the hoops that came with my Ricoma Em1010, but I must say these definitely make it so much easier. So let's get started. All right, y'all, so now we're at the Mighty Hoops station, and today we will be using Mighty Hoops, which always gets the job done a lot quicker. I will be using these adjustable fixtures with the Mighty Hoop station so that we can make sure we have our area perfectly centered onto the hoodie. Now, if you were to get Mighty Hoops, you will get a sheet listing proper placement. All right, so if you are interested in getting these Mighty Hoops, a link will be listed below in the description. But they definitely make hooping a lot easier, and I'm just making sure I have it lined up correctly right now. Today we are using the Ricoma Em1010, and the hoop size is an 8x13, so I definitely want to make sure that this is going to fit very nicely. And we have everything set. I'm just going to separate the hoop and be very careful because these magnetic hoops are super strong, like super strong. Right, so I'm just going to make sure that that fits in, and it does, and then I'm just going to lock that hoop into place. Now it's time to cut our stabilizer, and for this project I am using a cutaway stabilizer, and I just measure it this way. Super easy, just to lay it on top of the hoop and make sure that I have it sized correctly. And so now I'm just going to remove those flaps or fold them over so that I can place the stabilizer on top, and then we're going to close that back. Now that we have the stabilizer secure, we're going to grab our hoodie, and we are just going to put the hoodie over the hooping station, just like you're putting it on or putting on a mannequin. That's just how you're going to do it. So you want to make sure that you look at the proper placement. I am placing it right here because I feel like this is a good location, and also the hoodie has the pocket, and so I'm not really using it to a T, but I'm just doing it how I need to do it. So I went ahead and placed the top part of the hoop on, and as y'all saw, it just snaps right on. It fits perfectly, and it's super easy to remove the hoop from the hooping station. All you literally have to do is just lift it up and pull it out, and you are all set to go. I do want to show you all just how perfectly this is hooped. Look at that. That is pretty perfect. I absolutely love the ease of using the Mighty Hoops. So now we're at our Ricoma Em1010, and I am just going to hoop this onto the machine. Once I hoop it onto the machine, I do need to make sure that the #1 needle is in the correct location. I always like to start with the #1 needle perfectly centered, and so that's usually what I do. All right, and so it's right there. Next, I'm going to head over to the panel and just get ready to get the machine ready for the new design. I had to remove the old design and of course exit out of the embroidery status. Right now I am importing the design from my USB onto the machine so that we can go ahead and begin stitching this out, and everything imported and good. If you don't know, the Ricoma takes DST files, so your Ricoma machines will need a DST file, and once you import it into the machine, it's there. You don't ever have to import it into your machine again once you save it onto your machine. Next, I just want to go ahead and check out my colors, and I'm making sure that I put in the colors correctly for what we'll be using today. Also, with this particular stitch out, with any applique, you always want to make sure that you don't have it on the automatic setting. You want to make sure it's on a manual setting. So I am going to go ahead and trace the design. We're almost ready to begin. I just want you to know that the largest hoop size for your Ricoma EM1010 with the Mighty Hoops is an 8x13, but your space is less than that. So your actual embroidery space is about 12 inches by about 6.9 inches. So you don't get a full 8x13. I do feel like it is less amount of space than the hoops that come with it. So right now, the first thing that we're going to do with any applique project is stitch out our placement stitch. And the placement stitch is just so that we know exactly where to place the material that we will be using for the applique. And the applique means that we are filling in this particular outline with fabric. So we're not going to be stitching that fill. We will be filling it with fabric, which of course takes less time and you use less thread. All right, y'all, so these are the 3 pieces of fabric that I'm going to be using for the applique to place inside of the letters, and I am actually going to place a piece of Heen Bond on the back of each. I've already cut these out in 3.5 by 3.5 squares. I want to make sure that it's faced the correct way, especially since I'm using text and words. I want the words to be able to be seen. I don't want to place it in like this in the letters. I want them to be upright. So I need to make sure that I pay attention to that. Here is the Heen Bond that we're going to be using, and I'm simply going to cut the Heen Bond to fit the fabric. I'm not using my fabric scissors for this. I am using just regular scissors for this part. I'm going to use a piece of parchment paper to help make sure I don't get any of that adhesive on my plate. I'm just going to do this just like this. Make sure it's on there. And I'm going to cover it like that. You don't have to do too much. Right, that's going to be enough. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other pieces. Alright guys, so I placed the Heen Bond on all of the fabric and we're all set. So now I want to remove the backing from the Heen Bond, and as you see, the fabric looks a little glossy. That is because the adhesive is onto the fabric. Exactly what we want, because we will be heat pressing. Once we're all done with the stitch out, we will be heat pressing the design so that that fabric that's going to be in the center of the applique is nice and adhered to the fabric, to our hoodie. Alright guys, so my applique fabric is ready, and I'm just going to place this on top of each, and the next stitch is going to be the tack down stitch, meaning it is just simply going to tack the fabric down. I am going to make sure that none of the fabric is overlapping the letters. That's just going to be more I have to cut, and that one looks like it's possibly going to overlap a bit, but it's okay. Alright, so now we're ready for the tack down stitch. Now we can go ahead and move our hoop back in. And click start. And I am just going to make sure with the tack down stitch everything goes as it should. like a lot of movement. But if you guys see, there's like a lot of movement when it was going. So I don't necessarily want all of that movement. So before it starts, I'm going to just make sure that that's nice and in place. Alright guys, so after the tack down stitch is complete, you want to remove your hoop. You can also do it with it still on the machine. I, of course, as you see, did not show this part, but you need to cut that excess fabric away so that way you can have a clean satin stitch border. Alright, so I did not show that. I'm so sorry that I did not show that. I can't even remember why I did not record me doing that. However, I did cut, I trimmed away all of that extra fabric, and so now it's doing the final stitch, which is the satin stitch around the letters, around that fabric. And this doesn't take that long. I like doing applique because it really reduces the amount of time, and it actually looks really good. Look how amazing this looks. And so right here, I am just making sure everything is correct. Also, you want to make sure that you don't stitch your hoodies or shirts or anything together, so I always kind of check it. But y'all, this is looking really good. I'm absolutely loving how this came out. I also have this design in rhinestones and bling, but I think this is my favorite. Embroidery is just so professional looking, so classy. I absolutely love it. And we're just going to remove the hoop from the embroidery machine, and look at that, y'all. That looks gorgeous. So now we're going to head back to the table because we have a few more things that we have to do. As I'm working, I'm also watching the Baby's Booty live. So thanks, Eve, for the entertainment while I work. I'm going to go ahead and unhoop the hoodie, and you want to be careful placing the hoop or the back part of the hoop or any part of that hoop because of the magnets. So definitely be careful. I don't like to just leave them around because they will attach to any and everything. All right, so everything is looking good. So now I'm just going to turn the hoodie inside out so that I can get ready and cut away the stabilizer. Alright, so everything is looking good, and I absolutely love how the back of the designs look. I always love seeing this part of the design. It just looks so neat. So you want to go ahead and cut away any extra thread that might be there when it was doing the jump stitches, because you just want it to be smooth. Once you put your tender touch on, you want it to be smooth, and so that's what we're doing now. We're just trimming away all of those threads. Now I would suggest using a smaller pair of scissors to get that done, but it still worked with my regular scissors. Alright, so now I'm just cutting the stabilizer, and you want to be careful when you're cutting the stabilizer. I usually like to pull the stabilizer away from the design so that I don't make the mistake of cutting my shirt or hoodie. In this case, you never want to do that. You never want to puncture it or put a hole, and so I'm just making sure that I pull it away as I cut so that I can see it very clearly, especially using, I have a white hoodie with white stabilizer. You may not always be able to tell the difference, but nonetheless, everything is cutting really nicely. I love this design, y'all. I love how this looks. It looks just so neat and so clean. So I made sure that I got kind of close to the design. I don't like all the extra stabilizer going beyond the design. So now this is tender touch, and the tender touch is going to go on the back of the design, and I'm just going to measure it, make sure that it fits. I don't want to put too much, or of course you don't want to put too little. This protects your stitches so that you don't have them unraveling and they don't irritate you. This is perfect for using on toddler and baby items. So we're just going to go ahead and trim that off. Next, I want to get ready to press this onto the hoodie, and one side has the adhesive, the other side does not. The side that has the adhesive is very, very rough, and so you can definitely tell the difference if you just rub both sides. And I am going to get ready to grab my Cricut mini press, and I'm going to use the Cricut mini press to apply the tender touch to the hoodie. Now you can use a regular heat press to get this done as well. You only need a temperature of about 250 degrees, and I usually press it for about 7 to 10 seconds and it's perfectly fine. So if you want to use the mini press, it's fine. Just use it at the first notch. All right. So everything looks good. My tender touch is nice and adhered to the back of the hoodie. And y'all, right now, I'm just going to take my mini press again and just press over the word God, because that is where I have the Heen Bond. And I just want to make sure that Heen Bond is nice and adhered to both the fabric and also the hoodie. So when I was pressing it in the back, that was activating the Heen Bond also, but I just want to make sure because I want those letters to be very smooth. I don't want to have like the bubble effect where it's not really stuck or tight to the hoodie. And so the Heen Bond just gives me that security to let me know that the fabric is nice and secure on the hoodie. But y'all, this looks so good. This fabric is vibrant. Again, I got this fabric from Joann's. You can probably find it online, but I got it maybe like 2 years ago, so it is pretty old. But y'all, this looks amazing. The colors look awesome. I absolutely love it. And I always have to give a shout out to Marcel of One Virtuous Woman for giving me the idea of creating this design. It is my all-time favorite design that I've ever done. I absolutely love how this came out. All right, y'all, we are all done with that hoodie, and I must say it looks amazing, but these hoops definitely make hooping so much easier, and I save so much time with using these and the hooping station. So if you're interested in any of the mighty hoops and the hooping station, a link will be listed below in the description. But just know that there are certain machines that these work really well with. You do have to input your specific embroidery machine to make sure that you get the correct hoops. Also, there are some safety precautions associated with using these magnetic hoops, so you want to look out for those as well. And also, you just want to be careful because these hoops, the magnetic force is pretty intense. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give us a thumbs up. Also, head over to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and join the Craftable Things communities there as well. But that's it for today, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.